Kia ora koutou, ko Lucy Shepherd toko ingoa. I'm a facilitator with the Placenta Aotearoa Professional Learning Development Team, or the PLD team. And this is a short video to introduce you to the NELP, which are the National Educational Learning Priorities. We're going to look at what the NELP are, where they've come from, and what they mean for us at Placenta. What are the NELP? The NELP are the National Education and Learning Priorities. These priorities aim to help the education system achieve the 5 objectives for education that were adopted by the government in 2018. The objectives for education are along the top of this table, and they are learners at the centre, barrier-free access, quality teaching and leadership, future of learning and work, world-class, inclusive public education. Beneath the objectives, you will find the priorities, or the NELP. The first 6 of these are applicable to Placenta as an early learning service. Each of the NELP sits underneath an objective. And if you want to pause the video now, you can have a look at those first 6 priorities. Where did the NELP come from? We have them before us here in 2022, but the NELP journey actually started back in 2018 with the Education Conversation, or Kōrero Mātauranga. At this time, the government consulted with groups all around the country to find out what we thought about our education system and what we could do to make it better. So there were lots of targeted NELP engagements across the country with all different groups of people. In 2019, there was consultation on the draft NELP. Then we had COVID in 2020, which slowed everything down, and in November 2020, the final NELP were published. The priorities really aim to help us to meet the outcomes, the education outcomes that have been put out by the government. And they're based around well-being, inclusion, and equity. So why are the NELP important? I think a really great place to start this conversation is to look at the difference between equality and equity in our education system. Equality is where everybody gets the same, whereas equity is where people get what they need to be successful. And we know at the moment our education system is not providing equitable outcomes for all our akonga, all our tamariki. So we need to make some changes. The NELP help us to make those changes. The NELP set the direction for the education providers to improve outcomes for everyone. Now, it's really easy for us at Placenta to look at these NELP and go, we already do all these things. We're already meeting all the priorities in the NELP. That'd be really easy to do. But what the NELP's asking us to do is to take another look, to make changes to what we do to ensure we're reflecting the NELP in our practice. When we can do that authentically, we should see changes to outcomes for all our learners. What do the NELP mean for Placenta? So the NELP tells us what is needed to improve outcomes for all our tamariki. We must also have regard for the NELP in planning, evaluation, policy and practice, and we need to be truly reflective and be prepared to shift our practice to make the necessary changes to improve outcomes for everyone. What changes are there to the licensing criteria? In order to ensure services are reflecting the NELP in policy and practice, 2 licensing criteria have been amended to include the NELP, and these changes took effect from 1st January 2022. The first criteria that changed is GMA 6, self-review and internal evaluation, and the second is GMA 8, annual plan. And both these changes included a need to have regard to the NELP and documentation. And what that basically means is that in a self-review or internal evaluation, we need to document the way that we're reflecting the NELP in our practice and in the outcomes from the internal evaluation. For the annual plan, that means to link your tasks to the specific NELP in order to show that you are having regard or reflecting the NELP in your planning. Where can you find out more information about the NELP? On this slide here, I've put some links to the NELP documents that are on the government website. I particularly recommend the resource pack, which has several tables which show what good looks like, and also why the NELP are important, and give specific guidance to early learning services. So I recommend printing those out and having a look to help guide your thoughts on the NELP. As we come to the end of this introductory presentation on the NELP, I just wanted to make a point about what's next. And I would like to have done this in a video, but I couldn't work out how to get it to work again, so you've just got my voice. So what's going to happen next? We have to understand that this is just the start of our journey with the NELP at Play Centre Aotearoa, and it's going to take us many months and years to fully implement the NELP in our practice. In order to support centres to do that, the PLD team and centre advisors will be helping centres to have a look at how they have regard for the NELP, how they reflect the NELP in their practice, and where they can make changes in order to strengthen that. In July, we will start a contract with the Ministry of Education to provide specific PLD to centres across the motu in implementing the NELP in their practice. So there's lots more to learn and lots of support to get you there. We also hope to have templates for internal evaluation and annual plans which make it easy to have regard for the NELP. We look forward to seeing how this all happens and works out for centres. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to get in touch with the PLD team. We're here to help. Ka kite anō, kia pai tora.